My name is Rahul Sharma. I've been in the corporate America for 20 years, transforming people, transforming leaders, and ensuring that people who wants to move to the next level, they take steady steps. It's all about taking steps. We all may be great individuals, but if we have to the next level, we have to work as one team. Before we get started, a quick note. The opinions expressed here are my own and those of my guest. This conversation is intended for informational and educational purposes only. Always seek expert guidance for your unique situation. Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Climb, the Confident Leader podcast, where we share the stories of leaders moving from invisible to becoming an influencer. I'm your host, Rahul Karan Sharma, and today I have a guest who is a first timer for me. We always have been presenting guests who have achieved their level of leadership. But here I have a guest who has worked so hard in her career so far as a student of Rutgers School of Business, double majoring in supply chain management and business analytics and information technology with a 3.9 GPA. She has an industry experience at Unilever and Herman Services, where she supported data-driven process improvements across customer operations, digital procurement, and logistics. Our guest also serves as a president of the Rutgers Undergraduate Supply Chain Association and is a proud member of the Road to Supply Chain Leadership program and the Women Build Leadership cohort, demonstrating a strong commitment to leadership development in the supply chain field. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hand together for one and only Lavanya Khanna. Lavanya, welcome to our show. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much for that introduction, Rahul. I'm doing just fine. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. I'm glad that you accepted our invitation to be part of our podcast. Typically, our podcast talks about leaders who have been in the industry and they share their journey. But your story was something very eye-catching. You did double major as well as you did your internship two times in your career so far, where many undergraduate students struggle to get one internship. So welcome to our Climb Confident Leader podcast. If you look back, what was some of the early moments in your career that really resonated with you and sparked your interest in leadership?
Sure. So when I look back, my interest in leadership didn't come from one big defining moment. It definitely came from a series of early experiences where I realized that I love to take responsibility and, I love helping other people just as a whole. And I think when there was any kind of group project or presentation, I found myself naturally taking charge. Found myself checking in on people, making sure that everybody felt heard. And what I realized was that when I did step up to take charge, the group project or presentation often showed better results or exceeded expectations. So at first, what interested me was this idea of being respected and admired. I liked being someone that others trusted, someone that whose voice really carried a lot of weight. Over time, however, I think that understanding definitely evolved. As I grew older through my academic and professional experiences, I started seeing leadership as more of a responsibility rather than recognition. So I learned that, being in charge didn't necessarily mean controlling everything. It meant making thoughtful decisions, listening, and sometimes even taking a step back and letting someone else take the lead. So that shift, was very important in the field that I am in currently, supply chain. It is a very people-driven field, even though it's heavily analytical. and you're coordinating across teams and you're making thoughtful decisions. So that evolution of the interest in leadership that I had has helped
Mhm.
me in this field as well. So
Wow.
while it started with, wanting to be respected, I think it
Hmm.
has evolved into wanting to be dependable. And that evolution, I think, is very important. I want to be someone that people can have confidence in if I'm leading. So, I think that has truly shaped my not only my interest, but also just the way that I approach leadership today as well.
Wow. I must applaud the defining moment that you mentioned, that leadership is about more responsibility rather than just having a title. This is, Lavanya, it's a common theme I'm listening from all my guests so far.
Mhm.
And these guests are having 20 plus years of corporate experience, and you are so early, so new to this leadership environment, and you have resonated this something what has been resonated by the industry experts. So you are definitely on a right track. You are definitely on the right path, and we hope that you will do justice the moment you become a leader in the corporate world. So thank you for sharing that thought. Um,
Absolutely.
Now, on that note, you have achieved a lot as a student, Lavanya. I mean, your bio is impeccable. You have done so many internship as well as part of so many other community,
Mhm.
and I'm sure it is not something that comes very easy. Uh, I want to understand, as well as I want my audience to learn, what kind of mindset shift you had to go through to bring all these success you had so far as a student.
Sure. I think for this one too, I might mention multiple mindset shifts that I had
Hmm.
or a series of them. So I think one of the first and the biggest ones was moving away from this fear of failure. So I think early on, I realized that if I wanted to achieve anything meaningful, I couldn't wait until I felt ready, comfortable, or just afraid that things were going to go wrong. And I think that holds you back. So a lot of my
Hmm.
success has come from this willingness to try new things and talk to new people, no matter if, even if I didn't know if it was going to be a success. And whether it's introducing myself to professionals, applying for roles that I wasn't sure I'd get, or just stepping into any kind of leadership roles, I learned that, the progress definitely came from putting myself out there. And the second mindset shift, kind of going off of the first, is just learning that to achieve something, you don't necessarily have to be perfect, but you have to be consistent. So not,
Mm.
every attempt worked out and not every conversation that I had led somewhere, but each one built a certain confidence and resilience that I needed. And so I stopped seeing setbacks as something that was holding me back, but just started seeing them as feedback on, how I could improve. Over
Wow.
time, this kind of mindset has helped me take on some larger responsibilities and roles because I trusted myself to just learn as I went along. Finally, I
Wow.
think, just focusing a little bit more on some internal standards rather than external validation. So when, just looking back and looking at myself and seeing if I was learning, improving, and staying true to my values and my goals, that shift kind of helps you stay motivated and grounded, even if things don't go exactly as you plan them to.
Your response was more like a music to my ears, Lavanya. Uh, what you have learned so in such an early stage is mind-boggling. And the last piece that you mentioned about, it's all about the internal aspect rather than the external validation that makes a difference, and that is so powerful. Thank you for sharing it. I learned that you are president of a supply chain chapter. Uh,
Mhm.
what inspired you to join this chapter, and what inspired you to take up this role? A young individual playing a bigger role, it is a big ask and big task. So help us understand that mystery.
Sure. I think what really inspired me to take on this role was that, well, firstly, I just wanted to be a part of an organization that helped my peers get familiar with, real world leadership and careers. I joined this organization back when I was a freshman, and I benefited so much from this community, and I felt a responsibility to give back to it and just raise the bar for the people who were coming in after me. Stepping into this role definitely felt like a natural extension of my growth. I really did feel I could learn quickly and lead with some good intentions. I wanted to be someone who brought in good structure, and clarity into the organization while still keeping it very people focused. It's been, an awesome experience, and it really has taught me a lot about people as well. I've learned that everybody motivates differently, so it has helped me
Hmm.
work on my leadership as well. Some respond better to clear directions while others respond better to
Hmm.
heavy encouragement. So I have been able to adapt my leadership style, um, and the approach to others rather than assuming that my one leadership style fits all. Just overall, also from a teamwork perspective, I have such a great team working for me, and I've learned that, of course, progress cannot come from trying to do everything by myself. I trust my team, I delegate the responsibility, and just at the end of the day, sometimes I even step back and just let other perspectives just take on for a better outcome. This role has just taught me a lot about people, teamwork, but also responsibility. Um,
Hmm.
any of the decisions that I make as a part of this organization not only affect me, but they affect the members, they affect the organization as a whole, but they also affect Rutgers as a university because this organization is a representation of what the university stands for. So that accountability has prepared me to just be more thoughtful, be more prepared, and more consistent overall. So it's again such an amazing experience, and it just has reinforced for me that leadership is not about titles. It's not
Hmm.
about the visibility that I get. It's more so about the service that I give, the trust that people have in me, and just showing up for the members of this club in any way that I can.
I think that experience of yours is worth 2 to 3 years of a corporate life experience, to be honest,
Mhm.
because these learnings are impeccable. And especially what I liked about your taking this role was that you had that end in mind, which
Mhm.
is focusing on serving people, focusing on helping people. And when you start anything with that end in mind, then the effort becomes effortless. The result is a byproduct of that outcome that you have already thought about. So thank you for sharing that, and I appreciate that you got so much of amazing experience. Anyone who would be hiring you, Lavanya, would be in a great spot. I am very confident that you will be a great asset to your future employer.
I
Uh,
appreciate
o-
that. Thank you.
on that note, I know you had two back-to-back internship experiences.
Mhm.
Uh, Help us understand what was your uh, biggest lesson that you learned from those internships.
Sure. So actually, I've had internship experiences in two different places, but in a total of three different internship experiences. So it started off with Herman Services coming out of my freshman year. That one
Mhm.
was very hands-on. I was there to revamp their newly implemented transportation management system. So my biggest takeaways in a role like that was how important day-to-day operations were in the supply chain logistics space, but also how critical data was if you wanted, decisions to kind of travel throughout the whole company, which is what the system was there for. I gained a deeper appreciation for systems like these that connect the company, but also just the people who keep these systems running and just reinforcing the idea of leadership again, that it isn't just strategic, it can also be operational. And I think it's best to have it be a mix of both.
Mhm.
Now, for shifting into some different fields of supply chain, I have had two co-ops in Unilever, the first of which was in the digital procurement space, and the second was in the customer operations space. So two very different parts of the supply chain, but just Overall, I was exposed to a very fast-paced and highly structured environment where
Mm-hmm.
the decisions were driven by data, a lot of collaboration between teams, and just long-term, solution management as well. So one of the biggest, takeaways that I took from my Unilever co-ops was the importance of working across different functions. So cross-functional communication and just how you do have to change your communication style based on who you're talking to, whether it's vendors,
Mm-hmm.
stakeholders, your own team. Supply chain is also something that doesn't operate in isolation, as I had mentioned before. You do have to look at every single function. You have to work with every single function. It's critical to ask the right questions, understand different perspectives, to come up with the solutions that I had to implement as a part of my internships. So across both of these experiences in different companies, I think what I really learned to do was to adapt properly.
Mm-hmm.
Every
Mm-hmm.
environment had a different pace, a different culture. Even
Mm-hmm.
in the same company, the two different roles had a different set of expectations. So being successful really meant observing, learning, listening, and adjusting quickly to all of these roles. And also, of course, the hands-on experiences that I have gotten bridge this gap between the classroom learning and a real-world impact as
Wow.
well. So I think all of this has really shaped how I personally approach leadership, responsibility, and just teamwork overall. I'm very grateful for these experiences, even before I graduate. So I think it's
Wow.
awesome that I've been able to experience all of this and also in different fields of supply chain. So kind of bringing in
Mm-hmm.
a holistic experience rather than just a single one.
Sure. And it's definitely a great experience that you received with different culture, different organization. And I'm very confident that this experience will really shape you well to your future employer because you already have that head start. And when I was listening to your response, one thing you actually took me back to my MBA. I also happened to do three internships with
Mhm.
two employers. What a coincidence! You did three internships with two different employers. I
Mhm.
also did three internship with two different employers, Pepsi and Tetra Pak. And the way you did with different teams, different departments, so did I. I worked for Pepsi in their office. I worked for Pepsi in their plant, bottling plant. And then I worked for Tetra Pak, which was a plant come office where the all the team members out there were white collar employees. So definitely a worth experience. So I'm sure you are in the right path. You are able to understand the different culture, different environment, different fields within the supply chain so that you can decide for yourself what next would be for you. So amazing.
Absolutely.
And thanks to your employers and your leaders who probably gave you the opportunity to showcase your talent. Definitely kudos to them as well. I
Right.
appreciate that.
Uh, I think that our similar experiences is why we're connecting so well today.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Right.
So, few things coming in my mind. One, and Lavanya, I interact with many students because I also give workshop as well as keynotes in college and universities. And one of the things I have realized is many students they wait for their senior year to really start focusing on their career, to start developing themselves. Uh, and one of the reason why you are here today because you are one of those individuals who started from freshman year, which is what I always share with my clients. So, if a student listening to us, probably in their high school senior or probably in their freshman year, what they can do to find their internship opportunity, their first internship opportunity, what advice would you like to give to them who is struggling or probably who has never thought that they can also get internship in their freshman year?
Sure. I think this is also a very good question because I do get asked this question a lot, even as a part of a student organization, because we're here to help these early sort of students come in and just focus on their careers as early as possible. And if I could give one piece of advice to a student that's searching for their first internship, it really would be that you cannot rely on your applications alone. So networking is just so essential, especially when you're early off in your career and you don't have a lot of experience yet. Your efforts and your initiative is what's going to set you apart, not necessarily just your resume. So submitting applications is absolutely important. You have to just put yourself out there, but it's rarely enough on its own. What really makes a difference is putting yourself in environments where you can talk to people. So whether that's career fairs, information sessions, alumni events, guest lectures, or just any kind of events that a student organization hosts, for example, those are the conversations that are going to give more context to your application so that you're just more than a name on a screen. I think what also happens is that networking can be intimidating for students that maybe haven't done it yet, but it's just as simple as asking thoughtful questions, being genuinely curious about the person that you're talking to, and following up with them after you've had a good conversation. Most of the opportunities that I've personally had, I actually did have to connect with the right people, as they say. I had to go out of my way to start conversations, no matter whether it felt uncomfortable or not. And I think another important thing to understand is that rejection is a part of the process. Not every conversation or application will lead somewhere, and that's okay. I think it never hurts to build your network, and that is what you're going to be doing, and those efforts will compound over time. So ultimately, these internships will go to students who show a lot of initiative, curiosity, and just willingness to learn, not just to those with, the most experience on their resume. So if you've consistently put yourself out there, you're trying to build relationships, you're dramatically going to increase your chances.
Wow. And I think most of us or most of our students, they only start moving to go and attend their networking events or these kind of networking events probably in their senior year, or if they are really truly motivated, if they have good mentors, they can start in the junior year. But starting as early as a freshman year is really something that will give you foot on the door, and that will prepare you not to find a job at your senior year, but to become a person to whom employers will find. So as a student, your focus should not be on finding a job. Your focus should be on making yourself so great or so impeccable that the companies find you, not you finding the company. So thank you, Lavanya. I'm sure these insights, these inputs, these advice would be very helpful for any students who are in two minds or probably who is struggling to get their internship. Uh, we are coming to our end of our show. Before we move on to our next segment, which is the rapid fire segment, Lavanya, what's next for you? What are your goals, dreams that you are currently excited about?
Sure. So right now I'm at a very exciting transitional point. So I am graduating this May, finished my undergraduate degrees, and I actually for next semester or my last semester have taken on another internship with Johnson and Johnson this time. I will be
Wow,
starting at the
congratulations.
beginning. Thank you very much. I think this decision was very intentional. I kind of wanted to broaden my experiences even more before I graduate, just take on some new challenges. And at the same time, though, I am actually actively exploring some full-time opportunities as well. Um, and these are within the supply chain and business analytics fields. Very excited for roles, especially in the rotational leadership programs, because I want to gain as much exposure as I can to different functions just right after I graduate. And what excites me the most about sort of my next phase is just this opportunity to make some real impact. I'm less focused on maybe having everything perfectly mapped out for myself for the next few years, but just focusing on ending up in an environment where I can really contribute, grow, and be challenged. Ultimately, my goal is to keep on progressing, taking on responsibility, and just overall adding value wherever I end up. So I'm very excited. I
Wow.
know that the foundation that I've built over the last few years will hopefully allow me to adapt and be successful wherever I end up. So
Absolutely. Can I offer you one advice here,
sure.
Lavanya?
Hmm.
So I'm very confident that once our episode rolls out, your inbox will be flooded with many job opportunities. Very confident about it, or at least inquiries. But
Hmm.
my advice to you would be you have already stepped up to your game. You have already reached to a level where probably many corporate individuals take 5 years or maybe 10 years to reach.
Hmm.
So you be very, very selective when it comes to your future employer. Identify those companies who will set you up for success, who may sponsor you for your management program, MBA program from Ivy League University. So just be very, very focused on those employers who have that in-depth programs for you to become successful because you're already there. People start probably in 5 years from now. So I'm wishing you all the best and very confident that you will find that employer.
So
Now
much.
we will move on to our rapid fire round, Lavanya.
Sure.
In this round, we will ask you 5 questions,
Okay.
and we would want you to answer them without taking too much of time to think.
Okay.
Okay? Are
No
you
pressure.
ready? No,
Sure.
no pressure, no pressure.
Sure.
All, all right. A quotation you live by.
Okay. I think actually this works very well in the context of what we talked about today. A quote that I really like, it's been said by Robert Collier. It's called Success is a sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. So very,
Wow.
goes very well with what we just talked about, that, success is not immediate.
Sure.
It is definitely a small efforts compounded over time. So I love the quote.
Sure. And I love it too. Thank you for sharing.
Sure.
Um, the next one is, are you a morning person or a night owl?
I have always been a night owl.
Okay.
It is never changing. Always.
Okay. Okay. What's one daily routine, Lavanya, you never skip?
Uh, you know what, for this one, I'll go with something as simple as breakfast. I think no matter how busy I get, no matter where I am, I never skip breakfast. It is just that one part of my morning routine where I get up, get myself something good to eat, and kind of start my day off good from there.
All right. I think that is very important. If you're empty stomach, you may not be able to think, you may not be able
Mhm.
to make an impact. So, yes, very important. Um, Now, this is a question which is very, very specific. I created for you, Lavanya, because you are the only guest I have had so far who is still studying. So, from thinking about 5 years from now, how would you want your team to describe your leadership?
That's a really good question. I think 5 years from now, I'd aspire to be the kind of leader that people think is confident, a kind of leader that comes in prepared with essentially their materials. It's not that I don't know what I'm talking about, so I need to know what I'm talking about. I want to be the kind of leader that inspires others so that they're thinking, wow, she knows what she's talking about, she's confident, and I trust that if she's leading, we'll have a positive outcome. So I want to be someone who delivers good results as well. So good results, confident, and just someone who inspires others and knows what she's talking about. That's the kind of leader I'd want to be.
Wow. And
Mhm.
you're all on track to be one, my friend. The final one, if your career were a Netflix series,
Mm.
what will be the title of season one be?
Ooh, if I had a Netflix show, you know what? I think I'll be clever with the wordplay here. I'll say the first season will be called The Supply Chain of Me. So the supply chain of Lavanya Khanna. So I think it combines what I'm getting into. It also works with just my overall life and journey and the steps within it.
All right, this was really unique, and I'm sure that would be a blockbuster. So thank you for
Yeah.
sharing your experience with us, Lavanya. And before I let you go, I have this ritual of sharing my insights, my learnings from the show. So there have been many golden nuggets that were dropped by you, Lavanya. But the few that I captured was number one, leadership is all about responsibility, not about title. So
Mhm.
if you are focusing on being a leader, focus on being a responsible leader rather than just having a big title. So the mindset shift that probably you had early on, and one of the things that we all as a student as a leader should be focusing on is the fear of failure. Um, if you have fear of failure, probably you may not be motivated to try something. Get away with that fear of failure. A second mindset shift that I want to talk about, it's not about the perfection, but it's all about the consistency.
Mhm.
If you are consistent, you will get the result.
Mhm.
And willingness to talk to people. Sometimes we wait for the opportunity to come to our door, to knock our door, to come on our lap. But I think it's more important for us to be proactive and avoiding that thought process of rejection, which she spoke about later as well in the show when she was giving the tips to students for internship. Rejection will happen. Selection is actually the first step. Sorry, rejection is the first step of selection. So focus
Mhm.
on that. And on that note, it's also important for you to network. If you are looking for internship, if you are looking for those opportunities, network with people, make yourself available to attend the events that your career services is hosting. There would be many chapters. There would be chapters related to your field in your university. Become a member and become a active member, participative member, not a passive one. The final one is not final, actually final two. There's so much of notes I have taken. It's not about the internal aspect that matters more than the external validation. And many of us, we focus on the external validation and do not look inside us. The impact starts from inside, not from outside. And finally, one of the leadership lesson that she learned from her internship was everyone is motivated differently, everyone learns differently. So, as a leader, it's very important for you to know how your people are motivated. Not everyone is motivated by money. That's a surprising fact that probably you will get to know. Well, with that said, thank you again, Ravanya, for being on our show. We really appreciate it. Wish you good luck for your future. Good luck with that internship opportunity with J&J. And I'm very confident that you will get the dream job or the right job that you are aiming for. Do keep us informed about your next step. I'm sure our listeners will be interested to know your journey.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here today and for asking some very good questions. I think I had a lot of fun. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.